It's a Saturday, and no, I'm not doing a radio show today. I've given the stream over to a couple who have more to talk about. Today, I'm just talking about getting practical and figuring out how to get through this. All right. We have to look ahead and see where the obstacles are to our lives and put pillows where we might fall. Personally, the social media have not been very reliable lately. At YouTube, one viewer was shown a screen that said my account had been taken down, when in fact it hadn't been taken down, and that said that the video was removed and it hadn't been removed. So YouTube is waffling, and friends here at Facebook have been complaining to me that what I tell them is on my timeline isn't on my timeline. All right. And so I have to make some plans what to do in case that the shadow banning or that the deplatforming becomes total here or there. You know, I'm a grandma. I'm not talking from a political point of view. I'm talking from a theological, logical, ethical point of view. But as far as social media is concerned, I'm too far to the right and they want to get rid of me. All right. They have their agenda and I'm not on it. They have a club and I'm not in it. Okay. So today, let's think about some of the strategies that we might be able to use to keep going. Now, when it comes to having places to go on social media when you've been cut off, the central point is having enough emails available to you, enough email accounts that you use. You have to use them. You can't just let them sit by because then they question whether they're valid. You have to have enough email accounts that if one account gets blocked by Google, you can go to another one. Google so far has blocked 2 of my accounts that prevent me from getting to YouTube to do anything. Okay. So you have to do a workaround. You have to do a workaround. One of the ways to get kicked off social media very, very quickly is to start getting upset and ranting about what people do and do not do. And this guy is wrong and they're wrong and we're right. And that you can't do that anymore. That's for 7-year-old kids in the schoolyard. Okay. Getting personal doesn't work anymore. And in fact, getting upset and ranting doesn't work anymore. Now, there's so much going on that's horrifying, and, you know, there's so much to make us feel bad. But part of it is the desire on the part of the archons and the jinns and the demons and the powers that want to see us all churning. They want to see us just so pissed off and crazy that we get kicked out of everywhere. Let's not give them that satisfaction. Let's not allow them to see us break the rules to get us kicked out. Let's not allow people to see that the madness and the disinfo and the bad information and the lies and the prevarications and the obfuscations are getting to us. No. We don't want to give them that much satisfaction to believe that they can drive us crazy, which is exactly what they're trying to do. So keep it cool. Just keep it cool. All right, now there's some areas of life that we need to think about. What the government has done is shut down every source of food and groceries except the big corporate names, Walmart, Costco, and the supermarkets. Do you know what that means? That means that corporations have absolute and total control over our food supply. May I suggest, if there's a health food store in your community, patronize that. If there's a produce market in your community that's run by local farmers, go there, all right? If there's a little corner grocery, go there. Even the 7-Elevens that sell liquor now sell lettuce and tomatoes and eggs, okay? Don't patronize the corporations. Let the corporate America culture die. It's the corporations that rule bait us, that toy with us and dangle us, that when we call them with a problem, they say, oh, we don't know. We don't know that. It's not our job to know that. They're stupid. They stupefy themselves and each other. So let corporations be on your suspect list and let individuals be your primary objects and focus points for getting your needs met. Do you know a farmer? Call the farmer up and say, hey, what are you planting this year? I'd like to buy some. Okay? You know a rancher? Hey, yeah, are you going to be selling any of your beef on the hoof this year? Can I arrange to get a half a steer and put it in my freezer? Okay? Make deals with people. Okay? Be present at the Salvation Army and Goodwill and all the little local thrift stores. Get rid of your stuff there and buy stuff there. And if the government has those shut down, talk to and reason with your local government why thrift stores for people with little money need to be kept open for the people who have lost their positions and their jobs. Now, another thing about positions and jobs, my stepfather came out of the mafia culture of Chicago of the 1930s. And so he knew suffering from the Depression of the 30s. And his advice was that you will always have a job if you work in survival industries. Food, maintenance, apparel, not necessarily retailing, but repair, dry cleaning, tailoring, stuff like that, and shelter. Now, the truth of the matter is about food we can make, either have a little garden in our backyard or on our balcony. We can, if we take the time and the trouble, to contact other people who have gardens, farmers who have gardens. There are online subscription garden sites that you can sign up for getting groceries. Okay, so hopefully we will have access to people growing good food that we can get, even though we prefer not to deal with the corporation, the corporate. You know how rich the Walmart family is because of their hiring and practices. It's just unbelievable. Okay, so let's stay away from the corporations. As far as apparel goes, what I notice in my neighborhood, I live in a neighborhood of very, very diverse, many different races, cultures, and so on. And all of the ethnicities in my neighborhood buy their clothes from their ethnic connections. They don't get them. Well, Penny's has gone out of business. Macy's, I think, is gone. The Weinstein's has been gone for a long time. Online purveyors of simple, modest clothing are always present. I just got a beautiful dress from India for about 40 bucks that would have taken me hours and hours and hours to make. I don't know if I could ever have made it. Okay. So maybe buying clothes from overseas online through Amazon or something like that isn't such a bad idea. Working in dry cleaning is dangerous because you have to deal with the perchloroethylene and the chemicals and stuff. Working in a laundry is a good idea. Laundries right now, I bet, are doing a land office business. So if you are somebody stuck at home with a washing machine, who knows, you might be able to help your neighbors do their laundry if they have no access to laundry. Who knows if you might be able to help your neighbors and your neighbors help you. Okay. Now, shelter is a whole topic on itself. If you don't have the nearly $1,000 a month to rent a place, buying a place at this point, requiring a huge down payment and all of the stuff that goes with that, the legal title and yaketa smacketa and the insurance and the upkeep, that's a matter of being beholden to a corporation. People, unless they inherit money, can't do that on their own. Now, at the present time, the tiny house market is burgeoning because people realize that these great big overblown 2,000 square foot homes, unless you have kids at home, are just a drain. They're just a drain. So people are converting and moving into RVs, panel trucks, vans. They're decreasing the commitment to the cost of shelter, of a place to sleep and eat and go to the bathroom and change your clothes, with a lot of different methods right now. Another method of cutting the cost of shelter is bringing the kids home. I know having a son in the basement has a real bad reputation, but sometimes you have to bring the kids home or the parents home. And that's tough on the parents because they always thought that they were in charge, and they're finding out that they're not. Oh, well, All right, so the primary tactic we have to have right now is adapt to relationships where before we adapted to corporate policies, corporate procedures, corporations, large companies. We want to push those aside and get with personal relationships. Now, there's a local church that offers the service to deliver groceries for shut-ins and old people like me. Okay, and do it for a small donation. And I thought, that's really nice. That's really cool. However, in the intervening weeks between my commitment to send them a donation and the first order that they delivered, I was never contacted. They are not offering friendship. They're not embracing me as someone to be part of their community or their community relationship. And so my opinion has become, because I've been through acquaintance with several churches like that, they only want people like themselves who have the same head trips going on in their heads. Doctrine and dogma is everything, and if you don't have the correct thoughts dangling around in your heads, they don't want you. I have a problem with that, and I'm not sure how to overcome the obsession over correct doctrine and dogma in especially the Protestant, Catholic, Orthodox churches. They're so obsessed over having the politically correct or the theologically correct thoughts that they don't pay any attention to behavior to the need or the desire to affiliate. I don't know how to fix that one either, because what I find in scriptures is that the need for holy law, for laws of cause and effect that create an outcome. When you do a good job, you get a good outcome. When you avoid doing something that is going to cause harm, you don't cause harm. And when you make a mistake, there's a process for getting back on the road to doing good. That's what the scriptures describe for us, especially in Matthew 18:15. Matthew 18:15. Jesus said, settle conflicts. Okay, you're supposed to settle your conflicts and not divide over doctrine. See what I'm saying? But the practice of the Christians and the Jews as well. The Jews have these factions between the Zionists and the the Torah Jews that are just awful. And the religious people are divided against each other with a vengeance. I don't think that's what God intended. The law has its place. The Beatitudes of Jesus, which work for the long-term outcomes that manifest good intentions, even though short-term they're difficult, work with law and the devotion to matriarchy, to Mary and the women saints who knew how to stand with God and devote themselves to the mission of God. That's entirely ignored. And instead, the denominations are busy taking pot shots at each other for not thinking the right, correct beliefs. I don't understand that. Okay, that doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe you can help me with that one. Because the churches are so busy qualifying their members to be part of the correct doctrines and dogmas of thinking, they're not dealing with people as friends. There's the insiders and there's the outside. There's the members and there's the attenders. There's the parishioners and there's the visitors. And there's this huge chasm between the people who are signed up and give their tithe every month versus the ones who just walk in the door the first time. Jesus talked about that a lot, that the poor person walking in off the street shouldn't be made to sit at the end of the row and unacknowledged and remain silent and not have anything to participate in that required their reasoned judgment or their experience or anything until and unless they qualified according to doctrine and dogma. I have a problem with being led around by the leash of dogma. It's the dogma is supposed to be on the leash and not us. But anyway, so we're trying here to create workarounds for groceries, for covering when we need it. And I think thrift stores are the best answer to that one. And shelter is still a hard one. There are 17 million vacant homes in the United States. And there aren't that many homeless, but the homeless have nowhere to go, even though the homes are built. That's crazy. Now that the COVID-19 epidemic is kind of waning somewhat, in California, there's a new directive that you can't be served at any store or place of business unless you now wear a mask. And I just put up a video that explains how wearing a mask is harmful to your health. And so there are these contradictions and paradoxes between reality and the directives and orders and top-down diktat that we're getting, especially here in California. So I wonder, do any of you guys have any ideas here on how we might, okay, I'm looking for, no ideas. We've got a few questions. We got a few questions, but no ideas. Okay, because we have to get through this. The reason I have to get through this is that I still want to manifest my dreams that I had as a youngster that I never got around to. So I'm not giving up yet. I'm hoping you're not giving up yet either. There's too much left to do. And I realized that the Jesuit Illuminati order wants to eliminate 80 or 90% of the population on this world. And I'm asking, by what authority do they want to do that? Who says they have the authority to do that? Nobody, as far as I know. And so when they make their pronouncements about what I have to do and how I can't have free speech and I can't associate with people and I can't assemble with people and I can't express myself, I ask these totalitarian tiptoe tyrants, what are you doing? You have no right to dictate to me like this. William Mount, who's a physician who's also worked in Intel, he points out in his video yesterday, and I really appreciated it. He went through the history of Lincoln's war on slavery, and he pointed out that the only way these state directives have any teeth to them is if in federal court those states declare that they are pro-slave states and they re-establish official government slavery statutes. As long as the federal government is sovereign over the states have no authority to dictate to the people what the federal government has not deemed as law. And so we need to look into that, because there's the original 1889 Constitution and there's the organic Constitution of 1789 and 1871. And there's so much conflict between common law versus the uniform commercial codes and corporate statutes that it appears to me we the people have very ambiguous lawful legal status, and we're going to have to establish a lawful legal status, just as we're going to have to reestablish whatever land ownership we believe we have. Because UN Agenda 21, UN Agenda 2030 has as its intention to wipe out and obliterate all human property rights on this world. That's their intention, is that no human should be able to buy any property and that we are all just renters and squatters. You see what I'm saying? There's really an agenda to grab hold of power on this world and force us all into a lockstep dictatorship. There really is a conspiracy. And if you still don't want to see it, I can't force it on you. Nobody can force it on you. But I can relate and testify to the steps toward dictatorship that I am experiencing every day. And I just want you to know, I don't want you to have to live with it any more than I don't want to have to live with it for myself. We shouldn't have to live in a lockstep dictatorship, and we are not sheep, and we're not going to wear tags in our ears or under our skin, and we're not going to be managed like a herd of cattle. That's not what God gave us our lives for. All right? So, all right, that's my lecture, rant, whatever you want to call it, for this Saturday. And next week, I'm going to be talking about dealing with the problems of the elderly and dealing with the problems of children by families. And in order to do that, I'm going to have to interview a couple of people. So I'm putting that off. That may be a podcast next week because I have to very carefully lay it out. Okay, we'll see you guys. Thank you so much for coming by. I love it when you show up. Bye-bye. Yeah, we're done.